Hello and welcome back to the channel. A viewer requested that I create an advanced settings for the beautiful Winwing Ursa minor joystick. So in this video, I'm going to go through the buttons on this joystick that I use here on the bottom. I'm going to talk about the trigger top ones as well. Can't really see it there. And then on the bottom, I'm going to talk about the turns here. So I'm going to start actually on the bottom. On this beautiful bottom, if you don't know, you open up the bottom like that, and it opens up the section where you can adjust the sensitivity a bit in terms of the tightening of the joystick itself. So there are a total of 3 screws, 1, 2, and 3 right up here at the top. Kind of hard to see in the video, but those 3 screws I have tightened to about 1.5 turns to get the best overall feeling of the stick. And what that did was it made it a little bit tougher to push forward, pull back, left and right on this beautiful joystick. So another thing to keep in mind is this is not using the software that's provided with the Ursa. This is using just the default stuff in Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. So let's go ahead and take a look at those settings next. Here we are in Flight Sim 2024. And the really cool thing about 2024 is you can set up different profiles for the planes you have. Now, we are here in the Boeing 737 MAX from Asobo, which has its own issues, as we know. Now, we're going to go start off with the hardware settings here. If I click on that button, it's going to bring up the sensitivities. In the MAX, I have sensitivity set for 0.65, 0.65 on both the X and Y axis. So that's going to be your aileron, and that's going to be your elevator as well. So on both of those, turning left, right, up, down, those are both set to 0.65 negative, right? So that's going to give you, it's going to require you to pull back a little bit more on the stick, and the plane's not going to react as aggressively on it. Now the MAX, I do that. With any other plane, it is 0.50 on X and Y, both plus and minus sensitivity. The dead zone is the same across the board. It's supposed to be 0.05, but it for some reason defaults to 0.04 after you go in and save it. Okay, so that's in terms of the sensitivity with the joystick. The next thing is, let's go down through the buttons real quick. So on the Ursa, there are 4 buttons at the top. There are 3 buttons on the bottom, and that's on both sides. Now, I primarily use the buttons on the right side. So we're going to tap on input, click that top button. So button number 9 up here I use for Beyond ATC. So that's just a quick response to Beyond ATC if I want to choose the first option in that. The button below that I use for the parking brake. So toggle parking brake is that button there. Next button is going to be the top right. And that's going to be a quick reply. So that is if you're using the built-in Microsoft Flight Sim ATC, it will do the quick reply for you. Bottom one from that one is the cockpit / external camera view. So if I tap on that, when I'm in the cockpit, it goes to external. If I tap on it again, it will go back into the cockpit where you left off. So a very handy feature. Now going to the big circle button on the right side is load custom camera 1. So anytime that I'm in a camera, wherever I am, if I move the mouse around, I can tap on that. I'll go back to my camera number 1. On to the bottom, the top one, I use to toggle the the taxi lights. And then on the bottom of that, I use to toggle the landing lights. Now we're going to switch over to the left side here. On the left side, the big circle, I use for the autopilot off. So this is nice in the Airbus planes, whereas the autopilot switch at the top here, I can have that turn off. But then when it's giving me the warnings that it's been disabled, I can tap on that and it will go ahead and disarm the warnings. The bottom button is going to be arm the spoilers, again, really nice in the Airbus planes. And then just above that is going to be add fuel. Now, one of these work, one of these don't. I don't know which one seems to work. I think it's the top one works. But I have both of them set in there. This is if you're using career mode right now that's bugged out with fuel sometimes. This will add fuel into the plane itself. It's the only time I ever use it, not if I'm just flying and having a good time. I don't use the slider button or slider at all here. And I also don't use the twist. Now, on the bottom of the Winwing is a screw that you can pop in there. and this will lock it so it doesn't turn. So if you have rudder pedals like I do, you don't need to have this as an option. Obviously, it's very much available for you and very useful for those who would like it. Talked about earlier, this is my autopilot master switch. And then we're going to move over to the actual D-pad. So going to start with down is going to be trim up, trim down for the up button. Left is going to be quick view left, and then quick view right. And I think I had something, yeah, so autopilot off is in the middle. So that's the same button that I have for the big circle one here on the side. So I'm flying, I disarm the autopilot, and then I can push down on this button and it will go ahead and silence that warning. In terms of that, I don't use any other buttons on this joystick just yet, but I think it is a fantastic unit. I've got, I'd say, probably 15-20 hours of use since I've gotten it, and it is a gorgeous, gorgeous joystick. Works really, really well with in-flight sim. Now, I did forget to comment on the trigger button here. This front trigger button I use for Beyond ATC. So I use that when I want to speak to Beyond ATC. Outside that, again, it's a fantastic joystick. Highly recommend it. Those are the settings I use for the Winwing Ursa Minor. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you for the next one. Take care.